If you're a college student who is also applying to law school and you're currently taking finals, you're probably feeling very overwhelmed. You're thinking, how am I going to do well in my finals, prepare for the LSAT, handle my job, have a social life, and also craft a compelling law school application? For those of you who do not know me, my name is Cynthia Rivera, and I am the Director of Development, Partnerships, and an advisor here at Barrier Breakers, where we specialize in working with first generation and college students. So, in today's episode, we're going to explore some effective strategies or techniques for handling your coursework, also handling your LSAT and the application's materials, all while maintaining your mental health. It's very important that you take care of your well being because this is going to be a very long process. I am not going to lie to you. Preparing a law school application, it requires energy. Preparing for the LSAT test also requires focus, discipline, determination. If you're also working, it makes it all the more challenging. But I'm here to tell you that with appropriate planning and some techniques, you can successfully apply to law school and achieve your dream of becoming an attorney. So, first, let's talk about preparing for finals, a technique that I have used with many students and they have found it extremely helpful. You probably have heard of this technique where you study for a period of time and then take short periods in between study sessions. Basically, this method involves studying in focus bursts. You set a timer for 25 minutes or 30 minutes, and then you dedicate this time exclusively to studying. After the timer goes off, you can go ahead and take a 5 to 10 minute break. Make sure that you're doing absolutely well, I should say you can do anything you want, but just make sure that you are not doing anything that relates to the subject matter. Why is that? Because you're giving your brain a break. The next technique that you can use during your finals is to engage in what is called active recall. And what that means is to avoid being a passive learner or avoid reading notes. And actually, this is very important and it's a very great technique to also use in law school. When you're in law school and you're studying for law school, you shouldn't just read the case and just read it again and highlight notes. You should engage in active learning. And the best way to do this is by answering questions. You can also use flashcards or old exams. Make sure that you're challenging yourself. Be an active participant in your own studying. Another advice that I think is important is to use on campus resources. They have workshops on time management. They also have tutors. And again, this information and these techniques do not just apply to college finals, they can also apply to law school. Be an advocate for yourself. Talk to people on campus. Go to the different offices. And please do not be afraid or embarrassed to ask. And I know that as a first generation, I felt very embarrassed to ask for help. I just didn't want anyone to know that I didn't understand something or that I was struggling with a subject matter because I felt that I was the only one. And I know that as first generation students, we are so hard on ourselves, but I really encourage you to use the resources available on campus. Go to the tutors, attend workshops, find study groups. Study groups will become crucial in law school and they can become lifetime friends as well. And a final note or final technique that I will encourage you to consider is to reach out to your professors or your teaching assistants. Not only will you be able to ask questions with regards to your test or the subject matter, You also have the opportunity to get to know your professor better and to get to know the TA better. And most importantly, they will have the opportunity to get to know you better. And why is this important? Because you are on a law school application journey. And these individuals could become great recommenders who will not only talk or write about your potential as a student, but your character. They will be able to describe that you go above and beyond, that you go and visit them during office hours, that when you don't understand, you ask. And all of these are very important characteristics of a future law student. If you're currently preparing for the LSAT, if you have started working on your application process, and you're also taking your finals, I recommend that you set aside your LSAT preparation and your application process and solely focus on your finals. As I mentioned earlier, your GPA is an important component of your application process, and you want to make sure that you do your very best. So just focus momentarily on your finals. For those of you who have not started at all, you can, however, do administrative or engage in some administrative tasks that relate to your application process. What do I mean? So remember those 10 minutes that I mentioned earlier, those 10 minutes in between your studying. You can use those 10 minutes to open up your LSAC account, for example. And that's the service that would allow the law schools to receive important documents such as your transcript or your letters of recommendations. You can do that in between studying. It won't take very long, and it will help you and make you feel that you are making progress, that you at least started your application process. Why? Because the earlier we start, the more successful we will be, and we will decrease our level of anxiety as a result. Something else that you can do with those 10 minutes is start looking for LSAT preparation guidance. Right? You can get on the internet, you can talk to people, and just start exploring different programs. Start thinking about how you are going to prepare for your LSAT. If you are not going to use a program, just make sure that your self study is comprehensive. These are tasks that you can do in between your studying, and that won't take very long and will help you feel that you are making progress towards your law school admissions journey. Once you're done with your finals, then you can really fully focus on your law school application and your LSAT preparation. Begin your LSAT preparation earlier than you think. This will give you ample time to familiarize yourself with its exam format, and it will also give you enough time to identify the areas of improvement. Be efficient with your time, especially for those of you who are going to be working during the summer. And if you're working full time, again, you are going to have less time to study. It's extremely important that you are very disciplined with your time. While you are preparing to take the LSAT, you're signing up for the LSAT. If, for example, you need accommodations, this is also the time to do that. Engaging in all of these processes early on is crucial. Now, I have had many students come up to me and say, hey, I want to focus on my LSAT, and then I will work on my law school application. And I have to tell you that the most successful applicants are those who have balanced both. So at the very beginning, you can incorporate your application process while you are studying if you do so in a very structured way. For example, remember when we talked earlier about having some time off while you're studying for the LSAT? This is the time that you can use to start brainstorming. Start thinking about your personal statement. Develop an outline for your diversity statement. And also start looking at all of those prompts and supplemental materials that many law schools require. Now, as you're getting closer to your LSAT date, then you are going to start decreasing your law school application process so that you can have more time to take an LSAT prep test. And once you take the LSAT, then you can resume your application process. So again, it's all about having a plan. It's all about having a technique. Make sure that, at least in my case, I have to have my plan on a planner, on a calendar. And I knew which days I was going to study for my LSAT and which days I should be working on my application. It's all about balance. Your application will be looked at in a very holistic way. What does that mean? What that means is that it doesn't matter if you invest all of this time on your LSAT and you get your aspirational score, but then you rush through the application process and end up with a mediocre personal statement, with an application that's not cohesive, that does not represent the very best of who you are. Why is that? Because you ran out of time. So make sure that you keep everything in balance, that you keep everything in check. As a final note, I want to say that many of you are going to be working full time, but for those of you who do not have a plan yet, I really encourage you to look into volunteer opportunities. I really encourage you to look for internships in a legal setting, for example, or you can volunteer for community legal service or attend networking events at your local bar association, for example, because these experiences will not only enrich your resume, but will also provide you with insight as to the legal profession. In wrapping up today's episode, remember that managing your finals, LSAT preparation, and law school application really requires careful planning and a balanced lifestyle. It's extremely, extremely important that you invest time in self-care. Feel free to use tools such as digital planners to keep track of your tasks. Also, don't be afraid of asking for help. And always, always have a network that could include family and friends, and take it one step at a time. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. And if you enjoyed this episode and if you found it helpful, please like and share and subscribe. Looking forward to seeing you again.